Greetings, family. We are live. It is Ujama Day. It is Wednesday. It is indeed the Sister Shanice Show. As you know, we do every Wednesday, 8 p.m. GMT time. We go live and direct to the world. Please do spread the word. As you can see, I've got one of my guests in the house, none other than Dr. Aboo. I'm really looking forward to the interview and the conversation that we're going to be having this evening. We have another guest, Brother Dulani, who's going to be sailing in anytime soon as well. But I'll tell you, I was just saying to Dr. Aboo, one thing I've known him for, he's an on-time man. Rise up, Dr. Aboo. How are you doing?
Good Empress, Up and down as
Good.
usual. Give thanks for life. Giving thanks for life.
All the time.
All the
Absolutely.
time.
I know you're an action man as well, always busy in the community, in your home, on the radio. So, we're going to learn about your journey today. And, family, this is a new series where we're focusing on being Black, stroke African, and growing up in Britain. And we've got a story to tell. Everyone has a story to tell. And quite often, our story is being told by people who don't look like us, don't like us, because they control the education system, they control the literature, they've been controlling the narrative for hundreds of years. But this is a new day. This is a new day. It's a day where we have platforms where we're able to tell our own stories. And we have stories to tell, don't we? So, family, as you come through the door, let us know that you're in the house. Let us know where in the world you are viewing us from. Give us a like, give us a thumbs up. And if you're not a subscriber, please do subscribe. Wow. Okay, so the family's going to be coming through the door now, Dr. Aboo. The live link is there. I'm just going to pick up the live link and start circulating it. I can see Brother Dulani is just logging in. So he's our other guest family who's joining us today, late, but it's all right. At least it's there. Rise up, Brother Dulani. How are you doing? Oh, you're on mute.
Oh, sorry. I gotta get used to this technology. Greetings,
Greetings, beloved.
brother. Greetings. I greet you in the
And
honorable spirit of our great and
Alien.
mighty African ancestors. Respect. Greetings.
I live.
Vudum.
Budum all the
Voodoo,
time.
respect,
In
absolutely
all
honored
aspect,
to
in
have
all
you
aspect.
in all aspects. Yes,
Ashe,
absolutely
Ashe.
honored.
Sure.
So we're going to have a really interesting conversation today, viewers. So spread the word, give everyone the live link, let everyone know that we are live. First of all, family, let me welcome Dr. Aboo. Dr. Aboo is not a stranger to the Sister Shanice Show platform. He has in the past been a regular contributor to our panel discussions. And with those panel discussions, we used to focus on different topics and we would have really interesting, deep, insightful debates. We'll have to bring some of those back. But today we've got Dr. Aboo on the show who's going to be sharing with us, his journey of growing up in the UK. Because at one time, people outside the UK didn't even know us are Black people in the UK. Well, we're there and we have a story to tell. Dr. Aboo is a community activist, a community mediator. He provides counseling in our community, volunteering services. He's a member of the Southern Referral Panel and has been for over 20 years. He's also a dub poet, songwriter, arts and mirror designer, and has for over 30 years been servicing the Galaxy Afiwi.net radio station. We're honored to have you in the house, Dr. Aboo. Please greet and welcome the family as I do a little bit of posting in the background.
Budum impressionist. Rise up for you all the time. All the time, Brother Dulani, wonderful to share a platform with you and to all the wonderful audience them that we have, we just a whole of Budum. Ubuntu. I am
Ubuntu.
because we are. And because
Therefore I am. Ashe, you've just gone on mute, Dr. Aboo. Okay. Yes, you're off mute now.
come back. Yeah,
Yes,
man.
you
Give
come
thanks.
back.
Yes.
Yes, welcome, Dr. Aboo. As I said, it's always a privilege, always an honor to have you on the platform. You know, people just love your style. They love your Budum talk. They love to hear your views and perspectives on issues. And so it's great to have you share the platform with us this evening to share some of your, really insightful stories. We are the ones who are going to have to tell our own stories. I'm going to keep saying that. We also have with us today, family, Brother Dulani, Misubuya Dumisa. I know I've messed that up. My apologies. Brother Dulani, please pronounce your name for us.
It's Ndugu. Ndugu is brother in Swahili. Ndugu Dulani Masibuwa Dumisai.
Masibuwa Dumisale. Brother Dulani
Dumisai.
Dumasai. Welcome. Brother Dulani has been on our platform before, I think at least once in the past. And just in case you remember him, he is the father of 4 children. He's a photographer and a Pan-Africanist. He's the founder of the African Development Enterprise Limited, a company that provides photography, graphic design and printing services to our community. He's been a member of the African Emancipation Day Reparations March Committee for over 10 years, and he's committed to the struggle for reparative justice within the international social movement for African reparations. Also a long-time listener and supporter of GalaxyAfiri.net radio station and the local community. It's indeed a privilege to have you on the platform. Brother Dulani, please welcome the family and add anything you may want to add to that introduction.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that introduction, Sister Shanice. And it's an honor to share on your platform with you and a person that I respect highly, Dr. Aboo Ratata. You know what I mean? We go way back, man. You know, I met Dr. Aboo before I even know about Galaxy. You know, that's how the journey in life takes you. We met at the Black Cultural, it was Timbuktu Books. That's where we met. Yes,
yeah.
And that's what, matter of fact, that is where the Black Cultural Archive started from, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yes, that's where we met. So I was searching for books and knowledge, and we met there, and we had an initial discussion, and that's where I met Dr. Aboo, and the rest is history. And I'm honored to be on this platform with him, yes.
And how many years ago was that?
That was about, what, 25 years ago, Dr. Aboo?
Yeah, man.
Quarter of a century ago. Yeah. Oh, my days.
I was a very young man.
Well, you're still fairly young.
Yes, long time. Yes.
Wonderful.
Yes, it was an honor. It's an honor.
And we're delighted to have you on board, both of you. Thank you so much. Family, we're just getting warmed up here. You know, if you want to hit us up in the chat and send us a message, please do. Also, you know, let the family know that we're live. So I'm just doing a bit of posting in the background here, sending out the links so that the family can just tap and get directly onto the channel. And that's always so important. Dr. Aboo, I was admiring your attire before we went live. I'm sure everybody in the audience is as well. I wonder if you could just, you know, show us a little bit more of that and tell us about the design, maybe where you bought it from, maybe who made it, the creativity, the artistry. I mean, this is something that sometimes, you know, we don't appreciate love as much as we should. But this design that you're wearing is probably based on, you know, thousands of years of creativity and skills and knowledge that's been handed down. And wow. Man, look at that, family. Dr. Aboo, you know, big up the tailor. Tell us a little bit about that outfit, please.
Yeah, some wonderful genius amongst us, you know, young people, you know, and all you have to do is just give them the support. You know, you have some wonderful tradesmen out there. All you have to do is just give them the right tool and support. And you know, I have to rise up my young seamstress out there that really can make you feel comfortable in the clothes them that she produce, you know. And this is what we do. We support the young people in many fields, you know, in the Gambia and even here, you know, because they are, you know, if we don't prepare for the generation to come, then it's no use we are here.
Exactly.
You know.
Yes.
So I wear these garments knowing that, you know, the generation then is really preparing for the generation to come, the next generation to come.
Oh, awesome. It looks stunning. And so we big up the seamstress that did the incredible works there. And was it done by hand? Because I know, or sometimes they've got the machines, haven't they? That
they got the machine, but you know, and some of them done it by hand, but if they see the whole coordination and can put something on you and it feels comfortable on you and all of them, that's the greatest thing, you know.
Yeah.
you see, we as African people, you know, have been stitched up. You understand? Because you know, go to our tailor and our seamstress and we go to Mark and Spencer and them kind of in pre-marks, and sometimes I tell you things them don't look good for us. It's just like something through over a scaffolding, you know. But when you go to your seamstress and your tailor, I'm telling you, your whole body lined with what designed for you.
Yes.
So we have been stitched up. Other people are stitched with clothes them. So we must get stitched up.
Indeed, I remember back in the days, our parents used to make their own clothes, make our clothes as well. Yes,
Yeah,
indeed.
man.
And
Yeah,
you know, we would get that fitting. It'd be all about the fitting.
my
But
father
now
used to be a cobbler. My father used to be a cobbler.
Oh, really?
Shoes.
Mine too. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man. Yeah, man. The shoes. You know, my auntie used to complain that he used to take off all her shoes buckle, go put it on pants shoes for the girl.
And make style, isn't it? Make new style. Oh wow. And Brother Dulani, your outfit there, we can see lots of print and symbols, you know, that probably represent, you know, different African stories. Is there anything that you can share with us about your attire there?
Well, I buy them from in the market, you know, the African garment sellers. I go, I see something I like, and if I want to see something I want to make, they'll make it for me. But I like the more authentic African stuff. So anything that catch my eyes that represent our culture, that's me. You know,
Okay,
yeah,
yes.
I go out of my way. Yes, I do.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Yes.
Loving the colors, loving the symbols that I can see. Family, you know, mention in the chat, what do you think about the outfits that our brothers are wearing? Loving it, representing. Let's go over to the audience and introduce the audience, welcome the audience, and then we're going to go into our conversation for today. So let's see who we've got in the house. Rise up, family. Each and every one of you. Let me just scroll through. Rise up, Brother Kwame Aboji is in the house, saying Hotep, my lovely family, and rising each of us up. Hotep, black at you, Brother Aboji. Brother Kimani is in the house. Mahat Hotep to you, Brother Kimani. Mundele is in the house. Yenge Pimpa Kiambote, beloved. Good to have you in the house. And he's welcoming each and every one of us as well. He is none other than the Congo Leopard. Great to have you on board, as always, Congo Leopard. Let's scroll down. Lots of messages from Kwame and Kimani. Rise up, rise up. We've also got Brother Simon in the house from South London. We've got Brother Heru in the house as well. Honourable guests and family in the building, he says, rising us all up. We've also got Blue Zodiac in the house, saying, a long time that I have not seen the voodoo man. Greetings, Sister Shanice and guests. Yes, too long. Alright, so let's see who else we got there. Come family, let us know. Sister Verna's in the house from Phenomenal Black Women. Welcome, welcome, Sister Verna. Great to know you're in the house. So family, you know, let us know that you're there. Let us know that you're watching. Let us know where in the world you're watching us from as well. If you have any comments, questions, or statements, you're welcome to put them in the chat. And we will be going back to the chat messages in a short while. Blue Zodiac saying, glad to see the Empress looking like an Empress today. Rise up, Blue Zodiac. One love. So yeah, put your messages and comments in the chat and we will be coming black at you. We've done our preliminary introduction, but we are going to start our conversation for today. Family, as you know, we're running a series where we're talking about life growing up as an African stroke Black person in Britain. What was life like? I have family members from the USA, extended family members from the USA who say, you know, the Brits, you guys, you just don't do enough to tell us your stories. We want to know your stories. You need to share your stories. As Americans, we write a lot about our experiences. We write a lot about our stories. And, you know, it builds that kind of comradeship because it's a shared experience. And so we all as a collective have that shared experience. We want you to share your experiences with us so that we can have that bonding. And, you know, so we've been running the series for several strongs now, probably about, well, since the new year almost, and we're still continuing with it. And we've been having some phenomenal stories, and those stories are going to continue today. And so, family, this is about us telling our stories, taking control of our narrative and driving forward with our own definitions of how, you know, we interpret our experience. And Prophet on his shows, he have a little something where he says, he talks about the ones who born ya, the one who sent for, and the one who, the barrel one there, the barrel children. And what's the next one again, Dr. Aboo? The sent for, born ya, sent for, the born ya, the barrel one them, and the next one is going to come to us.
You have the Banya, send back and come back.
Okay. Dr. Aboo, share your story, please.
You know, I'm a part of the Banya, send back and come back. You know?
So break that down. For those who may not understand the Jamaican patois, may not know what we mean by Banya, Senfa, and Gobakfa, you know, let's define
I'm a child of that, of those wonderful pioneer generation, you know, and I was born here in 1958, July 1958. And because of the chaos that our parents and the others was going through, they decided that, you know, I could not really survive here in that tyranny, you know. I have a sister that is older than me, and them rather keep the girl and send back the boy, because they said the girl will survive more than the boy. So they sent me back to Jamaica when I was 6 weeks old. Yeah. And I never come back here until I was 21.
So you grew in Jamaica, and
yeah,
so
I grew
you
up in
had
Jamaica.
that rich experience in Jamaica. Do you want to say a little bit about maybe your upbringing in Jamaica, in terms of, you know, what your impression was of Britain? When you were in Jamaica growing up, you probably hear the elders and the older ones talk about Britain, talk about England. What were the stories that you heard and was being told about Britain, please?
Well, it's one thing with yard, you know, them always remind you where you're born. You know, them always make you know that, you understand, you know, that's where you're born, you know. I mean, nobody, it's not in a discriminatory way, but, you know, when you have proper information and all of them things there, because as I said, I never know my parents them until I come back here when I was 21. See the picture, you know, and so, and I never have that feelings like people think, say, well, oh, you left me and all of those things. Because growing up in Jamaica and seeing what that generation, what they were doing, things that was coming, the ready to slip, the parcel, the barrel, and all of this. When I did Jamaica, I think them people that own Park Lane. No, for real, you understand? Because I mean, things are going, you know, house are built because of them people there, you understand? So, you know, we were proud of them. We were proud because you have some of them, they were bus drivers or bus conductor. And some of them picture was in the front room. And you know, when picture they in the front room, it depend on a really mantle, you understand? So
Yeah.
you grew up with a certain sense of pride of those people that making things go on. You know, see, because things really go on with those people, you know, see. If it wasn't for that generation, you know, a lot of people here say they send, but a lot of people does not see the receive. You understand? So I experienced both, and I'm telling you, if it wasn't for that pioneer generation, if you don't mind Jamaica go bankrupt, I'm most of the island.
Yes.
You know, the biggest real estate that build even at Jamaica them time is that generation, just like what they do here. So one of the things growing up in Jamaica for me is, you know, when you tell people because they always ask you, yeah, for boy. And when you tell them, and them I tell you, yeah, you know, when they tell them, said, oh, Mali, my mother name was Mali, her name was Elma, but everybody call her Mali. But so when they mention that, and they tell you, that the woman there, you know, some man tell me, say, that them woman there, hey, she nearly bust me ass one time. And so you go for the well, you know, the kind of way there, she not joke and them kind of way there. So it kind of give you a way to know, say, you know, we have strong mothers and fathers. You know, we not see them, but we know that out of sight doesn't mean out of mind.
Yes, indeed. Wow. And just for the family who are listening who may not be familiar with Park Lane, when Dr. Aboo said, you know, he believes that the family over in England own Park Lane. It's one of the richest streets that has the richest real estate in the UK. And why did he have that impression? Because that generation worked so hard and managed to send home the money that they earned to build properties in Jamaica. And absolutely agree with you on that, Dr. Aboo. At the time, the vast majority of houses that were being built in Jamaica was being built by those pioneering generation that was sending money home to Jamaica. It wasn't the government that was building Jamaica. It was those who had left Jamaica, was working hard abroad and sending their money back home. And that generation laid a formidable foundation in Jamaica. Wow. Big up.
You see things, Sister Shanice, you know, a lot of us, we forgot that generation we're talking about. When them come here, they were young people.
True. Yes,
You know,
19,
you know,
20 years old.
you understand? You know,
yes.
tears, you know, every time I talk about them, tears come to my eye because, you know, the only legacy we have, you know, see, because we go through a thing called unrested development. You know, we have siblings left behind and all. These are young people leave all their children and all of them things there, you know. You know, what I'm saying is, you know, a lot of people doesn't look at it that way. But what I'm saying that I try to study the history of that generation and I realize one of the biggest obstacles they face in this country was the local authority. A lot of us talking about the police, but the police at that time controlled by the local authority, man. We must understand what was going on. Imagine you invite some people to come and help you and you have nowhere to put them. You understand? You have nowhere to put them. And when them start to accumulate and get obtain house, you drop up all compulsive service purchase just to push them out again. You understand? And look what these local authorities done for Ukraine. And Ukraine not come here and do nothing for them. You understand? So I'm saying, if we don't, you know, we should take out a lawsuit really and truly. You know, we the children of that generation to take out a lawsuit for the abuse that this society, these barrows done to that generation, you know.
Yes, yes.
Until I go to our ancestor, I would have liked to see something like that, you know. You know, see it. We can say, yeah, man, they come here and do something. We can't sit in the same place that abuse our people and say that we are progress. We're not progressing. It's a fifth column business go on. And full time we wake up and realize that we cannot give up our purpose for a position. We've been doing it all the time, and that's why where we are today. With that generation, we should have built monument to honor them. Look up a Battersea. You have a dog home up there that never go bust. That means a dog them a live better life than a generation that give us life. Shame on us. All these blacks entrepreneurs that come from that generation. Shame on you. Shame on you.
That's
all I have to say, sis. You know,
yes,
for now.
We need a monument, yes, to represent the greatness of that generation. Because wow, like you said, they were young people. Let's think about it for a moment. You know, they were teenagers when they came here, when they flew in on BOAC or whether they came in on the ships. They were teenagers. And as you said, some of them left young children behind, maybe left their wives behind or their husbands behind to come. And they didn't intend to stay. They thought that they'd be able to work for about 5 years and then return home, most of them. But sadly, many died not being able to return home and even live in the house that they may have built. But wow, what a pioneering generation. And I remember my cousin, who's now passed, telling me that when he came over here, like you said, they were invited over. When he came, they were having to sleep in the underground. They were sleeping on, concrete made beds in underground stations because no one wanted to give them a room. On the doors, it said no blacks, no dogs, no Irish. Wow. So, and they nevertheless, made a formidable life for themselves in the UK. We're going to hear more about, those stories as well. But let's go over to Brother Dulani. Brother Dulani, welcome. I've already done the intro to you, but where would you like to start your story? Are you a Banya Senfa?
I would be Kala Komya. I am a beneficiary of all of the struggle, and I want to endorse everything that Dr. Aboo said in tribute to those pioneers that paved the way for people that need to come here and benefit from the freedom and the little bit that we get. I came here and I reap the benefit of what they have laid down, and I honor them, and they should be honored. For me, when I came here, we didn't need no visa to come to England. You just can afford a ticket, and I had 3 aunties here because they came in the Windrush generation time, like the 70s and all that. So I had 3 aunties with each of the auntie had 5 cousins. So I had 15 cousins and 3 aunties here. So when I came here, there was like a system already in place, So, but I had to go through the struggle, with the college. I had to go to college and get extension to your visa and go through all of those type of adaptation. I had to go find work, working for £5 an hour. By the time I reach here, you got to £5 an hour, and I end up down in Croydon cleaning toilets and washing up the crate them that them put at the supermarket and get a job down there in them place there, one of them industrial centers. So it was a journey, and I had to find my footings, and Brixton was the place that I came to. But let me back it up a little bit.
Yes, please do. Go back to Jamaica. Tell us what the impressions were.
I was born in Jamaica, and I was born in a condition where I was born in the country, so you have to understand this. When I born, the first person I remember was my grandparent, my grandmother in particular. I didn't have a memory of my mother, my father, because, like I said, they in those times If they get a break, they gone. And my mother and father left very early, gone to foreign. So I was left behind. I was a barrel baby, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't really know my parents until I was like 7, 8, 9. So I was left to raise my grandparents and carers. So in a place called St. Anne's, and it was very, and I grew up, come see, tree stone was the stove in our full yard, tree stone and wood, and the toilet was down yonder. And we have a chimney under the bed where me have to carry out a morning time go dash with. The light was actually a bottle with a sitting down in it with kerosene oil night, and we light that the bottle there, and that was our torch. That was our light in the house.
Mm.
That's what I born come see that world. That's what produced me. And I watched. There was no television. I was very fortunate to have a radio. See it. And the peony wall, it was everywhere, so the place was very dark at night and story time. So I was able to get a lot of the culture. See, the African culture was passed to me. A lot of Anansi story, ton load of story we learn from veranda, sit down at night time. And we get those things. So that's what I was born into. And then eventually move around, and then I grew up in a place called Maypen in Florida. And then my first consciousness was actually in St. Anne's with my grandparents. So they eventually moved me back to Clarendon, and then I started going to school there, and but to be honest with you, see, we talk about clothes and them sitting there. The first time we get our khaki suit and them sitting there, we have to join one line. And get the government will give us the lens,
material.
the material, and we take it home to our parents, and our parents find a tailor, and then cut two suits out of him, a short suit and one long pants and a long sleeve. So and the first toothbrush and toothpaste we get of a giant line because of poverty, And sometimes we hear about poverty and we don't know, but at the time we never know about poverty. We never know. See it. So that's what produced me, and those are the memories that guide me. That's why I know the struggle for our people. So at that time, man was going into space, was launching satellites, and we was living like we was in caves. That's how we was living. But I didn't know no difference. I thought it was just normal. It's only when I was able to travel now, because I had brothers and sisters too, but like Dr. Aboo said, they take the younger one them and carry them out and leave the older one behind. And I was the eldest of my mother and father at the time. So my younger brother and sister them was left, and I was left behind. And then the barrier would come and eventually start get things, and things start to improve, and eventually I got the opportunity to go. My mother and father, they went to America. So they sent for me for a couple of years. We started to link head with the African American them and thing, and it started get out of hand. So my parents then panic, send me back to Jamaica. So you know what I'm saying? Because you said that are you going up to that, you know what I'm saying? So a lot of things happen. And along the way, eventually, in Jamaica, after a while, it wasn't so bad because you learn to adapt. As long as you have a little support, you're all right. But then we get the break to come to England. I'm gonna come to England now. But one thing with me, was the consciousness, was the African consciousness, particularly the anti-apartheid struggle. You know what I mean? That really pulled me in, and reggae music pulled me into that consciousness. And then we start read books, So that had to shape me. So when I come to England, I was grounded in a sense. So I avoided certain things. I was going in the conscious direction. With all my friends, them, the dance hall and the this and the that, and I gravitate, but me never know nobody when me come. but my family. So when I met Dr. Aboo, it was like the alignment, because what Dr. Aboo now opened me up to the conscious community in England when I started to introduce the galaxy. And I find out there was a community here now who was into consciousness. So then that's where I anchor myself. And that's where I've been ever since. I know, but there's part 2 and 3 to the story. So yeah, man. So just to give you a background.
Thank you so much for that background. Really interesting story. Love the story about life in Jamaica, growing up back then in the country. Yeah, very, very interesting. And the barrel then when the barrel come, because I remember even from home when I was little growing up, mum was always pulling up a barrel. There was always a barrel, and things was going in the barrel every week, something go every strong, something dropping out the barrel, until the barrel get full and could send over there. So, and here we're hearing, the recipients on the other end.
I was a recipient. I was a recipient of the barrel. My father used to do as well. He always tape one envelope in at the side of the barrel for me too. And in the envelope, he had a £20. $20. In Jamaica, them time, $20 was like $1 million to backside.
Yeah, man.
I was the happiest man on earth when that barrel coming at $20 quote and that envelope and that stick to the side of the barrel inside.
Wow. And imagine, and that generation, when they was in England, them lucky if them earn £5 a week. So they would be earning £3 a week, £5 a week, yet they would find money to pay the rent, feed the family, and buy things to send back home. They never ever forgot those who they left behind. Never forgot. Yes. And so that was a beautiful generation, as Dr. Aboo was saying, did so much, managed to accomplish so much on so little, and then you arrived in the UK. And it's really interesting, both you and Dr. Aboo have shared that you arrived to the UK, with your culture and consciousness. So clearly, those of you who came from Jamaica, you came with the Jamaican culture, the confidence and knowledge of self, whereas those of us who were born in the UK, we've been hearing, were devoid of culture. And, we're kind of creating our own culture, British culture, as we went along. And back in those days, yes, the dancehall scene, the party scenes, the shubbeens, the nightlife was very much part of that culture that the Banya was creating, purely because, the reggae music was feeding us a bit of that culture that we wasn't getting from the schools or even from our families, because they were so busy working all the time. So that's really interesting there. So let's go over to Dr. Aboo. And thanks, Brother Dulani. If you put your phone back on mute for us meanwhile, thank you. So Dr. Aboo, you reach. You come in, man. Yes. How was life for you when you reached? What was life like?
Well, it was good enough because my parents make provision for me to come, and but when I come, I come in at the time when everywhere the strike go on. Maggie Thatcher, I think, just a come in. It was Callan was the prime minister them time when I come. I come in 1979. That. But my parents provide for me, a time, and then I look at the situation and I decide, say, well, I have to know where I'm going. So I check out the police, past that, and I walk through the bull ring because Birmingham, I come first with my parents in Edgbaston, Birmingham. So I got the police, take the test, and they say, yeah, come back and so and so and so. And I walk through the bull ring and see a sign said, join the army and see the world. I'm a worldly man. I go in here and I take the test and then say you pass and all of them things. And I say, well, You know, it was a throat between that and the police, so I just go towards the army. And yeah, go in there and thing, go through the training, and you know, I was one of the best recruits in training. It was even in the newspaper in Birmingham and all of them thing there. So, you know, what I'm saying, Jamaica prepare I for the world. You understand, you know? And if I my Jamaican patois saved me in the army. You know, because when white people can understand you, them treat you bad. When they can't understand you, them is a delay mechanism. You understand? So they think white talk I couldn't hear. Because them things that we thought that way that we can't hear what them are saying and all of them things there, you know? You know, so more time when them tell me to slow down, I speed it up. So even sometimes I get in, but if you can't understand me, you cannot punish me. And I learned that, you know, see, so I just hold on man that see we and you know, and until them could have figured it out, you know. You understand?
They think say you never know no better, no difference.
That's it. You don't know how for this. Well, this is because I feel that many of us that come from Jamaica, if when him asks what language you speak, if we'd say it's patois, we'd have a lot of interpreter get some job. Because I say we speak English, we dip in and out of the patois. You understand? You may have cut 2 sentences and furthermore you gone some patois and dip back up and all of them things. So sometimes we give up some valuable thing where we could have access now, you know, in a certain way. You know?
So how was life in the army? Yeah, what was life going through the army like?
When I tell you that, when I was in the army, I think it was the greatest unity I see amongst black people. You understand? No matter where you come from the Indian side, another black man, and you give another and all of them things, that man a man. Because, listen, man, although we are in the army, we are prisoner with guns. You understand? That's how you have to know what you're in. But it's the experience. A lot of people said, why did you? I mean, I was naive and all of them things. I was very adventurous. You know, when me back at Jamaica, anywhere the truck I go, me jump on it. Sometimes I end up that's why I know so many parishes in Jamaica. Me go tell you, I grew up in adventure. And I come into a land that you can face a lot of misadventure. It's a totally different thing. You understand? The experience that I gained in the army helped me to survive out of it because I see certain things where certain men don't see. You understand? Because it's playing around us. But if you don't in the how can you see? You understand? So I use those experience and all of them things to help my children them through and help some of the young people them through. Because that's what we're at war, sis. We're at war, but we don't understand that. And a lot of people, but remember Churchill said, you know, in a time of war, truth is so precious. You have to bodyguard it with a barrage of lies. So who classify and redify our information that coming into us in a time of war? You know? Remember, you know, there's no one, because we have no intelligence department amongst us. That's what we lack as a people. And I cite that. That's what Marcus Garvey did set up, you know. Marcus Garvey did have a heavy intelligence department, you know. You understand? And that is what they crush. You know, see after Marcus Garvey, all the organization have to be Abrahamic. Check it out, sis. All the organization that the man acknowledge and do acknowledge are there or them let them stay have to be Abrahamic. You know? But this is the time now when we have to move toward restoration. That's the only thing, that's the only solution for us, you know. So growing up, leaving the army, coming out because it's too court-martial I get in. You understand? Because an officer thinks he can put in hand per man, you know, when I know so well, he can't do that. So I just beat him up. I just beat up that, lick up that, you understand, you know? Because at them time they know this, you know, we have the energy and we see certain things and we never make certain things, we never in the lower response. We were in high demand, high response. You know, that's how we used to function. You understand? So then give me 2 court martials, then me go Colchester. Come out of Colchester, you realize that you have to sign an official secret act for over 10 years. You understand that when you come out, you realize that you have been blacklisted because you have.
Oh no, because of court martials. Oh my gosh. So outside of the army, during those times, you know, a lot of us were facing like a lot of racism, a lot of hell on the streets and all the rest of it. What was racism existing? Did that exist in the army where you all have to come together and fight against it? And how did it kind of, if it was there, how did it kind of present itself?
A lot of them were beating line blood. Just like oh, when you go to school, you have to beat some of them in line. You have to beat them in the workplace. You have to beat all in there. Yeah, man. Hey, the first time I go to in a prison cell in this country, it was in, I think, in Bicester. We used to station in Bicester, just like outside Oxford. You understand? You know, and them time they really and truly, you know, if you're in the pub and you know, you see all a black girl and them things because of the certain things. Because a lot of white girls want to hang out around. So this brother now, he may have a white girl and we tell him, say, no, go over there, so. Because we don't want the other black girl and think, say, well, you're there on the same agenda. You know, see it. But the white girl, she never liked that. So she decided to throw her Roman black family.
What?
Yeah. And you know, just a couple months I come from here, boy, I just give that a right hand blood. Because that's the, that's how I want to train you to defend yourself, blood, and that's the hostile thing, blood. Because them time there when we are dressed out, you know, yeah, it takes us time to prepare our clothes, you know, yeah. Shirt and trousers depend this, and we are go out and you come do all them things there, no, yeah. So them, you know, that's the first charge never gets inside, and the only one that I since with the other getting at this place, yeah. You know. No, Jud, I'm telling you this, you know, when I in that establishment, you know, they have to respect I because I was a character, blood. You know, I was a character, you know. So after you start to function a certain way, where them know say you're not no idiot nor them thing, they understand, you know how to survive. You know, you have a discipline within yourself, so you know how to survive this, you know.
Rise up. Wow, that's a message for everybody out there, you know, in the workplace, wherever you are, you know, you need to know how to carry yourself and make sure that people them know so that you're not a pushover, you know, and you're not somebody who can just rampant and treat anyhow, you know, hold yourself on a certain pedestal. Yes, indeed. Rise up, Dr. Aboo. Thanks for sharing that story about life in the army. Pretty much, you know, similar to, you know, life outside. It was a struggle. It was one where, you know, you had to fight for your rights, etc. So,
it's one thing we must understand, you know. One of the reason why Marcus Garvey movement was so powerful was those merchant seamen.
Yes.
You know, reggae music. If it wasn't for the black troops, them that take it from the Caribbean, that take this music around, artists wouldn't be known it in certain places. So it's the black soldiers them that take the music right around the world. Long before the artists them ever go there.
Sure. Just like before, during the times of Marcus Messiah Garvey, it was the black sailors that took his newspaper around the world. And and then the music was the medium for spreading the message.
Because if them have access, you know, if them have access of movements, you know, we used to live in our suitcase, blood.
Oh wow, look at that. The grit. The grip, yeah. Right, so Dr. Aboo, let's go back to the chat for a short while. We got Chance D, who's joined us in the house. Welcome. Sister Afri Jamo is in the house, watching from Ghana. Rise up, rise up. Rise up again, Brother Kwame Aboje. Good to get your comment. Said, Sister Shanice, you and I know that your parents who came from Africa and the Caribbean were in for a rude awakening. Yes, they were, and we touched on that in terms of, them not having any accommodation when they came here and the notices that were on the doors, preventing them from renting, hence why they had to get together and buy their own places. Yes, what a thing. Agatos is in the house. Rise up, watching from Gambia. Rise up, Sister Angie. Good to have you in the house. Brother Haru, don't forget to like the show, family. Brother Haru said, thank you so much. Yes, please do. Give us a thumbs up. Chancellor D is saying, is that Chancellor D? Chance D? Might be Chancellor D. Is saying, giving up on purpose for a position while building strangers and haters' empires. For real, we need an Africated mindset and purpose, then make our own positions. Absolutely, Chance D. Ashe to that. Ace 99 is in the house. Richmond's in the house. The family are coming through the door. Ace 99 saying Jamaica has a dialect. Dominica and St. Lucia have patois. Okay, so he's saying patois is broken French. It's called Creole in Haiti. Okay, it's really interesting because, different islands, they might have their different definition of things. We can have the same fruits, we call it different names, so it's all good. It's all good. Dee Dee's in the house, rising up, Dr. Aboo and Brother Dulani, watching us from Jamaica. In Jamaica, how aware were Jamaicans of the hatred white people had for them? That's a really good question. Let's put that question to Brother Dulani, and then we'll ask him to pick up his story for us from when he reached ya. In Ababania, but in Richania. So
yes.
Didi's asking, the question, when you were in Jamaica, to what extent were you aware of the hatred that white people actually had for Jamaicans, Africans?
I was not aware. My family was not aware. The whole dynamics between white and black was never discussed in the homes. We never talk about slavery. We never talk about discrimination. None of those subject matters ever came up in the home. All my knowledge of Africa came from books, from movies, from talking to Rasta people. The older generation did not want us. There was a shield. They shield us from that, so we didn't know that. When you're young, my vision of England was like a kingdom in the sky, like the paved with gold.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? When we see the plane flying off, we actually thought the plane was going into a kingdom in the sky.
Wow.
That's how we view foreign when we was in Jamaica. At least me and my community and all the brothers, all the children in the community, we never had a real concept of what was going on in outside of Jamaica. Matter of fact, outside of our community where we were, because access to information was very limited. When the radio came in, you had to be fortunate to have a radio. And the radio came on for like 2 hours, maybe, 1 hour, 2 hours. And then you get a program, maybe JVC came on for an hour or two. And then you had Miss Lou with the story time, and then cut off. Everybody locked their radio off and put it away. So we was cut off. We was indeed cut off in the world. So that's how I would respond to that. We didn't know.
Thank you for sharing that. There we go.
Not to say that others on the island didn't know. People like in Kingston or in those areas in the universities, but where we were in the country we was isolated. Yeah.
Okay, so then you reach Anya, and you meet the family, your cousin,
yes. And matter of fact, my first destination was Birmingham.
Okay, like
Yeah,
exactly.
yes, Birmingham.
Look at that.
I lived in was it Barcelete?
Mm.
Yeah, Barcelete for 6 months. Yeah, that's where I lived. I think they had a sports ground there.
Mm.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And just for the family who maybe don't know the UK, Birmingham, another region within the UK, which was,
Yeah,
a hub for our community. We had certain
yes,
hubs
yes,
in certain
yeah.
places,
And
where there were concentrations of us as Africans
yes,
from Jamaica and other Caribbean countries.
right.
And Birmingham
And
Strong was one of them. Uh-huh.
yes, and at that time, you just come, you can't work, you can't really, don't have no NI number. So we just stayed home, watched TV, and we went to the bull ring. Bull ring, the new station, New Street. Is that what it was? Doctor New Street. So we would spend
Yeah,
our time
yeah.
going around in New Street and Bull Ring and meeting people. I remember when the first time I went on the internet was actually in the Bull Ring.
Real tough.
They had an internet cafe in there, and
Mhm.
I was oblivious to this. What is this? And start to inquire about this internet thing, and I got my email address for the first time in there. So that's how I got my first email address was from the Bullring Center in Birmingham, and
Mm.
yeah, met some good people down there. And it was one of my cousins I was talking to on the phone in London, and somehow she convinced me to come to London. That things would be better for me because I wasn't going nowhere. Because you know, you're new to the place. You don't have no job and blah blah blah. So anyway, I took a word on it and packed my stuff up and I took a train or whatever. Anyway, I don't even remember how I got to London, but I got to London and went with my auntie and they took me in. They treated me well, I must say. There's a lot of horror stories about people come here and their family treat them. I was
Yeah.
treated well. They respected me because my father was respected, and my mother was respected. So they just accorded me the same respect and love that I had for my father. So they took me in, and I was very grateful. And then I learned that my visa's running out. So I go through that whole visa issue because I wasn't born here. So I had to find some. So I went back to college. You know what I'm saying? So went back to college and them time, you just turn over your passport to the college. They sort out everything. Next thing you know, you get your passport back stamped 1 more year. Bam. That's how it was back in those days. But now it's much more difficult. I studied computer programming. So that's where I started going into the computer and I was one of the most advanced students in the class. And but I had to survive. I needed something to live and I started finding jobs and find job cleaning these places down there in Croydon and eventually we had a computer in the house and I started using the computer and when I was in Jamaica I used to write poems. I used to write poems about my struggle, lack of resources, lack of opportunity, and these poems was very personal. It was about the struggle and liberation and all this stuff about then I started to personalize the poem like to a wonderful mother, to a wonderful father, to a wonderful sister. So it was all and then I started to just put together these poems and it was very uh, when I first started showing people a poem to read them, and this is a very essential part of my story because and everybody can write poem. And Dr. Aboo know poem, you
Mm.
can write poem. But when you give somebody your poem to read and you listen to their feedback, if I give 10 people my poems, 9 people will look at me and did you write this? That's how you know that's how you know you're onto something. Who wrote this? They want to know who wrote this. And the feedback was very good. It was very good because this poem was very meaningful. You could tell a lot of thoughts and meaning went into these poems. And I decided to say, okay, I need to find a way to make a living in this country. And I didn't have no way to make a living. So when I went to like even the cultural archive, I was seeking, um, you know, connections and stuff like that. And then there was a church on Brixton Hill, Ruach, John Francis. I went there with a lady, and they had a exhibition they had put on called Unleashing Your Potential. So I said, man, I need to enter this. I need to, like an exhibition. I need to enter this exhibition. Maybe I get lucky. So I decided to type my poems them up and just laminate them and just bring them on and show people and try to sell them for like £1 or whatever. And then I had put them in a booklet. And I did the booklet. I never published them. I plan to do it. I got it. I'm gonna publish it. I'm gonna publish it. So, and somebody said to me, "Why don't you just create them individually?" I said, "Okay, I'll do them individually." So now I was doing them laminated. When I went to a Johnny in Timbuktu to ask a Johnny would he stack my stuff for me, he said, "Why don't you put them in a frame?" I said, "Oh," so I said, "Okay, all right." But he wouldn't stack them though. But he gave me the idea. I took the idea and I decided to design them up now. See, that's how the graphic design started. I decided to design my own poems and put them. Then I went around to the pound shops and I found the £1 frame. And I would print the poem, design them up, and I would sell them back for £5. You add value, the poem, the frame, everything, and I was selling them back. Then I was walking around in Brixton on the street with a poem them in my hand, selling them. That's how I started the business. This time the business wasn't registered. It was just in me trying to survive because I have no income. But I took whatever little I had. If I buy 5 frames and I sell 5 frames, that's £25.
Yeah.
That £25, I can go back and buy 10 frames. And I can sell that 10 frames. So it was working because the price was right. The poem then was meaningful. And then I end up getting a stall in Brixton. And 5 o'clock in the morning, you got to get up, get to the place, get in the queue. And if you're lucky, you get a stall. You may not even get a stall. And I got a stall in Brixton. Oh, matter of fact, I had to get a stall because I was walking around and then the police started to track me. The police started to track me and tell me, then one day they came down on me and tell me, listen, you got to stop it. If we catch you here again, we're going to lock you up and charge you. And, they gave me the whole 9 yards. So I had to desist from that. And then I had to get in the queue early in the morning. I got the stall. And I tell you what, I had the stall set up with a poem them on like about 10 frames and all that set up out there. And one day a sister came on the stall and she picked up one of my poems called To My Wonderful Father. And that sister read that poem and that sister started shedding tears in front of me.
Wow.
And I could not believe it. She was deeply touched. And that's when I knew I was onto something. And I never knew where the manufacturers were framed because I'm going to speed it up a little bit. And this time I'm still going to college. I'm still trying to survive. And then I go around to these places. I see nice frames because I wanted to get the nicer frames. I want to add the value to it. And then one day I went into a shop in Camberwell and I saw the frame manufacturer printed his number inside the frame. And I called the manufacturer and he was in Kent. And I got a brother, I don't know, I forgot his name. I got a brother. And he happened to have a van at the time and he was going to Kent. And the brother said, come on, I'll take you. And he took me to Erith in Kent and took me on an industrial site. And I went there and it was 2 white people and they had a framing company. And they took me there and they had all these fancy frames. But I said, what's the cheapest one you got? He took me out the bag. And believe you me, I had £35 in my pocket. And I gave them all £35 and got all the frames I can get. And I left with that. And I went back. And that is why I started the business with £35.
Wow.
And everything, I just turned it back because I never had any money, never had any finance. And I kept producing the poem and it could get better with the design, learning Photoshop, learning how to design. I started learning how to include pictures in the poem. So when the photography started to come into the picture, I started buying cameras. When I bought the first cameras, 1 megabit cameras came out. When Sony came out with a 2 megabits camera, that was a breakthrough.
Wow. How many megabits are we on to now?
Oh my God, the one I got is about 45 megabits. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you know, so I mean, some of them go up to 100. I mean, they up there now. But back in them days, it was a breakthrough. So it was an experience because I put everything into it. And then I couldn't deal with Brixton. Because let me tell you something with Brixton. Working in the market, and I'm going to let Dr. Aboo come in. Working in the market, then I'm going to tell about how I got to Peckham. Working in the market in Brixton, when you reach home, you got to start taking your clothes off from the door because you're going to smell like the whole market on you when you finish. It was hard. It was not nice. It was dirty work. Even when you finish, you got to push the cart back and dinner and clean up, and then you go home. You got to get on the bus. I think I had access to a car then, so I was able to drive. And even though I was not supposed to be, you know, but that's how it was back in the days, you know. So yeah, it was dirty. And then one day, I don't know how I got to Peckham, and I drove through the Aylsham Centre. It was Safeway at the time. And I saw this place. I said, wow. And the amount of people. I said, I got to come here. I just said right then and then, this is where I need to be. This is where I need to be. I need to be in Peckham. And when I come back, I'll tell you how I got to Peckham.
Wonderful, wonderful story of how, you know, you just tapped into your skills and abilities, your natural talent, and you made your talent work for you. You put in the work. And wow, you were touching lives as well with, you know, the poems that you were writing from your heart. Oh, wow. You know, you're going to have to read us one of those poems before the end of the night. Let's see. You're going to grab hold of one of those poems for us and touch us.
I have to go dig one out.
And let the family know if they can buy them now, if they can still buy them from you online or anywhere like that. But, you know, you started a business with 35. I certainly hope that you've inspired someone who might have some design skills or you know, may have some skills that they can think now about going to a market store and selling and starting a business the way you did. Phenomenal story there, you know, against the odds, because doors weren't opening for us. Doors weren't opening for our people. And so we're hearing, you know, and that's one thing about people who came over from Jamaica. You know, when the doors were shut in their faces, they'd find another door that they would open for themselves to make a way. Our people knew how to make a way out of nowhere. Oh, rise up for that story. Dr. Aboo, let's go back to you. So you've come out of the army now, and you're on road, and you know, presumably you're going to be finding your feet now, you know, as and a new career pathway, or you're going to be carving out a new life for yourself with the army behind you. Tell us, share with us, please, that journey after the army.
Well, see, as a ex-British soldier, you understand, although you're out of the British Army, you're vulnerable in other country like in a Bahrain and them thing, there is people like us that make up the army. But I decided, say, any army, me I go back in his mind. You know, I now go back and no more, you know, so I used to do certain bodyguard work and certain other work, you understand, because of two certain things is, you know. Even when you remember when they have to lift the ban of Farrakhan, and Khalid Mohammed and Akbar Mohammed visit here, we used to take them around and things. That's when there was no nation. There was no nation of Islam. There was the elder called Shabazz. He was the only nation of Islam brother that was around, you know. We set up an organization called By and By. Black youth in exile, Black youth education. We used to have meeting every Friday in Oxford Circus.
Oh wow.
Yeah. You know, and because of the people who own the building and thing, they was frightened because these meeting are over Saturday morning, you know. And the amount of black people are poor out of the young black people and things. Because It helped to change the dynamic of the thinking of our people. You understand? From just the mainstream, the mainstream way and thing, you know. And then I get the chance to go to America, you know, visit the Ansar Allah community, Dr. York. Most of those stuff is we bring it back here in the 80s. Is we bring back those stuff here.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, spend some time in Bushwick Avenue and all of them time because that's a frequency them that we were on, you know. You know, Brother Eru can tell you, come here, Brother Eru used to have some whole heap of reasoning, you know. Reasoning, Eru, Victor, the late great Victor Cross. You understand, you know? Being Brother Bevin from Matumbi. All of those is a serious link up ones and ones being used to have, you know. David Jackson, even the late B.B. Seaton. You know, B.B. Seaton, I do a music with B.B. Seaton. You know, yeah, he was the one that produced it, you know. You know, see, they called my choice. You know, that was B.B. Seaton, you know. And that's the way when you start to work together with people, you know. And there's a lot of things that's, you know, but in 1988 is when I link up with Nana Prakamabai. You understand? But I said I was active even before that, doing other things and things. I used to be a meeting coordinator for WellCare. You know, I used to set up meeting between social worker and parents. You know, to get them to, you know, to a contract. This was a contract that they must have come to, you know, see it in these meetings and that sort of thing. They used to do a lot of work, but as I said, to get employed in a certain way, you couldn't get it. You know, see it, to get it, you know. I sit on the youth referral panel now for over 2 decades. This is voluntary because I see that I rather go and assist the young people before they go to prison. I get many offers to go into prison to do work, and I refuse it. You understand? I refuse it. That's why I don't go to these zoos. I don't go to zoos because I can see that the animal them things so we come to take them. And when we have to left them, you can see how they get upset. So I don't go to those places, you understand? You know, there's certain things that consciously we can use to, you know, drive ourselves also. You understand, you know? And being a part of Galaxy even make the employment even harder. Because people deliberately tell me in front of my face, you know, if you never depart so and so and so, you could have that. If you never that. So you realize that when you set out to liberate yourself and liberate your people, it's a hard road, my sister. It's a hard road. But if I never have a good woman, a supportive woman, and some understanding children, I could not be here talking to you. You know, these are the things that help me to be who I am and where I am.
Beautiful, beautiful stories. And you mentioned that you met up with Nana. For those who don't know who Nana Pakombrabai is, please do share with the family who Nana is.
Nana, at that time, his name was Rennie Dunn. He's the co-founder of Galaxy Radio, you know. And at that time, you know, what Galaxy Radio is doing to what it's doing now, you know, is a journey. You know, the old de-brainwashing idea come from Obati Shaka. You know, I went to a lecture and Obati Shaka was given about de-brainwashing, and we have to go into the organization them and de-brainwash them. You understand? From that colonial virus. So when I come back, I sit with Nana at the time and say, you know, this is the motto we should run the station on. Not the number one, but the only de-brainwashing station, and it's ever since stick. You know, and that is what we set out really to do. You know, they remember we used to have in Parents' Day, and then when you join us, you add to the ancestor, and this is how we add on more. You know, see, because a lot of people have ideas about community, but if organization doesn't merge, nothing doing, you know. As I said, I was in the army. I have many different regiment and corps. But you say when there's a war, hey, you not me that fight last night, blood. You know, see, and this is what I'm saying, that the organization within the Black community, where does the leaders them go to train how to lead the people? Where do they go? You know, see, what rite of passage have they done? What exercise have they gone? You know, see, you know what I'm saying, that we have been designed in such a way that we, especially us Black men, we're easy to undress than address the problem. You understand? You know, we are in an undress mood, you understand? But when it comes to know, but when it comes to know, sis, when it comes to know, because I give thanks all the time, right? I go through many things in the army, and here I am. I'm alive. You understand, you know? So I give thanks for that experience, you know, that I can talk to. And I want dismay no young people from joining the army, but I will make you know that it's best if you know yourself. You know, see, you know, because a lot of people push up them face when they hear that a one is in the army or a one is in the police. But if you work for the local authority, you still work for the man. And some of us are more dangerous to even our own people by the pen. Rather than the bullet, blood. Because when I was in the army, most of the time we were there, what was in our mind is the defense of our people. You understand? Because we know where we are and we know the situation. Because as them said, when I come back into civilian street, then when I tell people things, they boy, wait, where you get that from? Because you wasn't there. You never see it. What I see, I know you don't know. You understand? Because, remember, you know, before you can even go into the school, you know, as a teacher, you know, you have to go pass them an exam, you know. You think that you have to pass his thing before you can, and so, you understand? So, I don't look down on our brother because them work in certain institution. I look and see their mind, how your mind is. Because you're in that position that you start, you understand? Because I meet some wonderful brothers that work in institution, and the main drive is to help the people. You understand? You know, but they go through the most stresses because sometimes even those that look like them doesn't support them. Remember Brother Milton? Remember Brother Milton Anson at Caldecott?
Yes, I do.
You know
what he gets through. Yes.
When he turned to some of his own colleagues, them at Caldecott in King's Hospital, they wouldn't even support him. And the poor man died in Jamaica. You know, see, so when a people remember this cracker with dead on Calvary, and you don't remember Brother Milton with just in then I said, we're completely out of our minds. You understand? So I knew, as I said, you know, when I remember brothers them like Ross Seymour, the book Liberator, you understand? Those are the energy and people them that we were moving up with, because as I said, I never grew up in this country. I wanted to come back. You understand? But I come back at the time when Bob passed off 81 and all. So it bring off a lot of things, roots and all of them things that go on. A lot of white men get beaten up in the army because of roots, you know, because them people they can't go off certain question that you shouldn't have right at all. This is not this. You see, it's a lot of things. you know. But the foundation, when I try to make people understand, you know, is 9 months I spent in my mother belly in this country and the tyranny that they go through. You understand? You know, I was hearing all of that blood, you know. So if I come out now fighting on behalf of those people, you understand? It's in my DNA. It's in my purpose. You understand? And I'm saying this. If every day I get up, that generation is in my thoughts. You understand? Because I truth me I tell you this, I don't rock my soul in the bosom of Abraham because I don't know the fellow. You understand? I rock my soul in the bosom of that generation. And the Rasta man and woman them that I grew up with in Jamaica because it's them set the foundation for me. You know, see, you know what I'm saying that Sister Shanice, that generation is the greatest peacekeeper. Because if them is send back come tell us that white people that England are spit on them and I call them dog, no blows not tourists walking in Jamaica. You understand? Although the Rasta man them did not tell us, you know, about them, you know, but we never have any proof. And most of the people them that was coming back, they never talk about the politics.
They talk the truth.
You understand? You know? And when I look at it, if they tell us the truth, Jamaica will be a failed state now. You understand? There's things when you come here and you see we are going and all of them things that you realize that no, you have to put in a position, you have to put yourself in a position that you know what are going instead of did I think what are going. You know, see?
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why I end up in the army, because I have to know what I want. You know, see it, you know. One of my biggest problems in the army, every time they tell me to do something, you used to say, so what? But they never understand you see, until another man go tell them, but you know what he does? He does. And then they realize that they're question, because they don't supposed to question, you know. You know? You get me to guard a building, I mean, I don't know where in a building, boy, me a dig a hole to see where in there, you know, says, that was me. You understand? And anytime we get transferred to a camp, me have to see where the back way there. Me have to see if there's a back way of this place here. Because so we grew up a yard blood.
Where's the exit?
Yard prepare us.
Yes.
Yeah, what you mean? That thing that we know we grew up prepared in a certain way. That's what I said. I grew up. We must be the last generation that encounter a set of man called the bearded man. That's emerging into what you call the Rasta man. You understand? You know, because you'd have some man and woman before the life, they just beard and all of them things. You understand? You know? But them always are teaching you. You know, see? You know? I remember they used to teach as a youth, but we never realized, now we are realizing and said, my youth, your purpose is to balance out the dual principle, you know. You understand? Because my show say, hey, my youth is a man and a woman who come from, you know. So these things are in you, but you have to know if you balance them out and all that. You know, I think the Rastaman, them a level panaston and tell us liberty. Yeah. That's what I said. I rather say to you, said Sister Shanice, I my sister, than tell about love. Because I feel more better saying that to you than about love. Because white people been using love even to kill us. Love. So I don't use those kind of narrative. We have the ability to change some of these narratives. You know, just like how those Rastaman them plant Irie and Ital and all of them things there, and look at it today. It wasn't that come from the university them.
No, not at all. It came from the Rastaman them.
You didn't say? Oh, you mean? The Rastaman then give us communication, not sophistication.
Oh, new language.
Yes. Is the school break us from communication and have us itch up on sophistication? When if you can't pronounce that, we think say one another idiot. You know, see?
Oh yes, they did a good job on us in that respect. And you know, the sad thing is that most of our parents went along with it, you know, and abandoned like the culture and replaced that culture with the European culture because they were indoctrinated into believing that, you know, everything white is right and their culture is better than our culture, you know, but that's was very much what was being practiced back in the day. But nevertheless, we still got by. Brother Dulani, wow, what a journey Dr. Aboo has just taken us on there. And so we bounce over to you now. So you reach Peckham.
Yes,
Peckham.
yes, yes. I just want to say, my sister, with Dr. Abu's story, you know, the colonial mentality was very much real, for those who came here. I mean, those who born here, I've heard how they view England, but
Yes.
there was a saying back home called the mother country.
Mm.
And that was deep. That was deep. We never saw Africa as our motherland. We saw England as our motherland, and the
Yeah.
Queen was actually our queen. So the mental state of our people was very, very shambled. It was a joke. It was, you know, I mean, we were fighters. We were instinctively survivors, but psychologically, they did a beating on us, man. They did a beating on us. And what the parents them did was they were shielding the children from that
Yeah.
psychological trauma. And many of them they hide us in the Abrahamic faith.
Yeah.
So we heal and soothe and comforted our trauma within that those Abrahamic teachings. You know?
Mm.
And I think Rasta will help to pull us into Africa a little bit, you know,
Yes.
the music and then the books and then the anti-apartheid struggle. I think that played a role. And certainly Roots. Roots probably the
Big
single
wake up. Yeah.
greatest event of modern Black African history, of in terms of consciousness for us, because we did not know, because our parents and our grandparents and our school system and our leadership, they didn't want to tell us. Like Dr. Alvin said, the place would have been destabilized if we had known the truth.
Yeah.
Jamaica would have been a different place. The Caribbean would have been a different place. They're lucky that we got the truth in the time that we got the truth, because if we would have gotten it earlier, we don't know what would have happened, you know. But yeah, but that was just I just want to endorse that narrative, and it's so much so true. But yeah, transitioning to Peckham. So as I was saying, I started off in Brixton, going around selling the poems. I made the connection. Went to this place in Kent, got the link. Now I'm in business, and I met a beautiful woman at the time, beautiful woman, and she took me in. We got married. It was wonderful, I must say, and she encouraged me to register the business. We sometimes don't like paperwork, and I went and found me an accountant, and I went to the accountant and I paid him the money, and I come up with a name. And the only name I came up with was African Development Enterprise Limited. And I registered that business. And because at the time, even using the word African in Britain was not necessarily the thing to do. It was not, the popular thing. But I was adamant because I know who I am. You know what I'm saying? I know that I'm an African. And by this time, I was imbued with so much. I got so much information because I had read so much of the great scholars. So I took a chance and went ahead with it, and 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 founded a business. And I'm in Peckham. So one day, like I said, I was in Peckham. I'm gonna try to speed it up for the sake of this recording. Um, and I went to the Alisham Center. I met a brother. He had a stall, and they had stalls along the Alisham Center. They're still doing those days. They had the little cart, the little old time, cart there with little wheels on it and all that. I said, I can do this, And I went to the management center, and the man, I spoke to a dude, and he said, okay, come back like on a Monday or something. And I came back, and the dude wasn't there. I was like, oh man. And then I came back the next day, he wasn't there. Then I talked to one of the gentlemen that was selling, and he said to me, go to that door there. And I knocked on the door. Then then the man said, oh man, I forgot, man. He was like a white boy, So he said, I forgot. So, I tell you what, you can start, man. I give you the first week free. So what? Yeah, I was nice. So man, I loaded up my stuff and I started there. And I think within a month or two, I was able to connect with a framer right down in front of where the studio is. There used to be some industrial centers across the road. Dr. Aboo remember around the back there were some industrial units. There was actually a framing shop around there.
Yeah, man.
They used to make any amount of frame. So I used to bring them the arts, the African arts and the African picture. And I drop a whole pile off and said, frame them up. And every week they'd be dropping off frames to me. Dropping off frame. Every Friday they're dropping stuff off. So now I got the frame supply down pack. And things just start going from there because I'm meeting people until when they decided to, because the market had burned down in Rye Lane up top there. And when they opened it back up, I went in there and I peeped through and I saw them working in there. I said, whoa, I got to get in this market. Got to get off the street because one thing with the Allison Center, when it's cold, it's like ice. It's like literally in an ice box. You got to be wrapped up because the concrete, all the ice. And tell you what, my sister, see, when you get in the summertime and it get hot, there's a glass above you that magnifies the heat. You're cooking in there. So you get the worst of the summer and the worst of the winter. You're going to get it. So I had to get off the street. So I end up now, went down there and they had to start it. And I knocked on it and I got in there and all of the units was already sold out by the time I got there. And it was only one spot available. It was a piece of wall. In the front when you're walking into the market. And I went upstairs and they gave it to me. I had to find my deposit. And that's why I transitioned from off the road into the market. And believe it or not, I started off in that market and I went from 1 unit to 2 units to 3 units to 4. One time I had 4 units right in front of me. And remember, this started from the 35 pounds.
Yeah.
So everything went back into itself. And I pumped everything back in. And then the big spot became available at the back. And that was a massive, but the people around the back couldn't maintain it. So they gave it up. And then they came and offered it to me. And that's when I got all 4 units at the back. It was all mine. And I moved all my stuff around there, built a studio, got some equipment. And I stayed in that market for over 23 years.
Wow.
And I get to know a lot of people and, interact with the community. I try to help us. I wish I would have helped 1 million people. I try to help so many people with anything I can, because, that's where I really get to know the community and chill with Galaxy and start going to Galaxy Studio, meeting Galaxy, and became intimate with the family. So it's there where my business took off. And funny thing about it, it's I wouldn't change anything. The journey went how it's supposed to went. And then eventually, I got sick right in that market. And I think it was the fuel from that market, the cooking in there, that landed on top of my head every day. Eventually damaged my lungs. And I almost lost my life in that market. And most people know the history. I just went home one day from the market. I got sick, went to the emergency room, and within 10 minutes, I was out. I woke up almost 3 months later. My lungs was damaged. It was, you know, it was in bad shape, and learned later there was an autoimmune disease that was really inflammation in my lungs. It was a long thing. 119 days in ICU, and you know, I spent 7 months in the hospital, and during that 7 months, I had the belief that I was gonna come out and go back into business. Everything was left in the shop. Shop was preserved just like I left it. I came out in a wheelchair with an oxygen tank, and I went back and I said, in my mind, I'm thinking I'm going to start back over. But when I went back into the shop, I spent one day, and I had one customer, and I tried to serve that one customer, and it felt like I was climbing Mount Everest. Never felt so drained, so battered, so abused in all my life serving one customer. And it was then I realized that I cannot continue. I had to give it up. And I made a decision then and there that I can't go. I didn't have the energy, the strength. And at the time, I was still in a wheelchair, still walking around with the oxygen. And that's how I gave the shop up in Peckham eventually, because I couldn't keep paying the rent. Because they were still charging rent for the spot, whether they use it or not. And that's how. Now I put everything in storage, you know. And the funny thing about it, you know, I had just started to turn the business after all these years. I started to see the business started to really pick up like how it's supposed to be. You know, still started to get that good turnover. Things started to look it up. And it was at that stage that I got ill and it just went downhill. But my spirit remained high, and everything is in storage right now. Even today, me and Nana Kweko went and picked some stuff up from one unit and brought it to another unit, and we're looking at some of the stuff that we have there, and we got a whole storage unit pile up with stuff. But that's it, and the journey continues, and I'm still here. I'm recovering. I've been in recovery now for about 2 years, and it's going well. I give thanks for life. I'm grateful for every day. It's been a wonderful journey, and I have not even mentioned about my role in the reparation movement. That's probably one of my greatest achievements. You know, I feel honored to be involved in that movement because my heart, my mind, my soul is in the liberation movement of our people. You know, I feel like that what saved me more than anything else. Because revolution was the thing that I studied. You talk about the Southwest people organization, like in Namibia, in South Africa, in Tanzania, in Kenya. All those was required reading from, even the Cuban Revolution. Those were the things that I was into, studying revolution, how people transform their lives and overthrow evil and colonialism. And that's what pushed me. So when the reparation movement developed, when I became aware of it in the UK, that was the place, because I knew that was the solution. I knew that reparation was the solution to African people's worries and challenges. It was because of the damage that was done to us that was never addressed. That's why we seem to be having difficulty catching up. And that's why we fall behind. That's when people look at us from around the world. Why are we in the condition? If you don't know the damage being done to us psychologically, economically, and politically, you will not understand. And until we repair that damage, we will not get much far. We may get far individually, but collectively, we'll always be behind because we was held behind for almost 400 years. We got a lot of catching up to do. That's why reparation is so important to me. Yeah.
Wow. Wow, what a journey. What a journey you've taken us on there. Quite an emotional journey as well.
Thank
wow. You. And, life just throws some curveballs at us sometimes, doesn't it? Just as the business, was starting to turn up, because you were the go-to man,
Yeah.
It's not done. Go to Brother Dulani,
it was like a community.
leaflets that
It
go
was
to
like a
Brother
community
Dulani.
center.
It
Yeah, it was
was.
like a community center. Because when people want advice, they want direction, they want where to go, it's there. Even there, they think that's where Galaxy is. Most people come there, they want anything about Galaxy, they come to me.
That's
You know,
true.
so, and I have to remind them that I'm not a part of Galaxy Management. I'm
Yeah.
affiliated with Galaxy, but you have to go talk to Dr.
Galaxy's
Aboo. You have to go talk
paraphernalia.
to Dada. Yeah, so, and if Galaxy go down, oh my God, I'm the first one to hear about it. One to the antenna. Where can get Galaxy? And then the doctor had to punch up my roof top.
Yeah, those are the terrestrial days. We're going to go over to Dr. Aboo to share with us some of those stories. I know Chief's the man, but you were there as well. So I'll just quickly bring in the audience and then we go back for 5 minutes each before we wrap up because time is just whizzing by. What's Ace99 saying? Racism in my country, the UK, is different for me as I don't take no nonsense and I'm not afraid to claim my country as mine right in their faces. You know what? It's really interesting because you was talking about in Jamaica, Brother Dulani, how our parents, said to us that Britain was the motherland. And it wasn't until, as you know, I started studying and uncovering some of our hidden history that I realized the link that we, as some of us as Jamaicans, had to England, Ireland, and Scotland and Wales. So they were also leaving us, telling us a message there. Obviously we're all Africans first and foremost, but we have been on a journey from Africa for hundreds of thousands of years probably, but when they were saying England was a motherland, some of them were.
I tell you something, sister, to kind of add to that what you're saying right there. You know the language we speak, the patois we speak.
Yeah.
If you examine the patois carefully, and you examine the Scottish and the Irish, you will hear a lot of the reverberance of the Scottish accents and the Irish accent. And I tell you why. Because many of the plantation was owned by the English, but they was actually managed and ran by the Scottish and the Irish. So most of our contact, we learn English from the Scottish and the Irish. So that's why the English came called bata bata. You don't see it and know so we are the African in it. So the English never come from the Englishman. That's why we don't sound like the Englishman. You notice that? We sound more like the Irish and the Scottish.
I've done the research there as well, beloved.
Yes.
And there is the correlation between the patois and the Irish language. And
Yes.
I identify a number of words and a number of meanings to numerous words in the patois and in the Irish when I was doing that study. There is that correlation. And there's a really interesting book, something along the lines of From Whence Came the Irish, a really interesting read because that book did the research and found that there were the claims that a number of the Africans there in the Caribbean had got their names from plantation owners, only to discover there were no plantation owners with those names. Why? Because some of them had actually come from Ireland, from Scotland with their names. Some of us came directly from Jamaica. They were emptying basically Europe of the Africans. They were emptying from Spain and Portugal to England and Scotland, but that's a whole nother history there that we're still uncovering. Family, we're talking about history as well.
The only way that the names would not have come from the enslavers themselves is because the managers of those plantations were not the owners of the plantation. So the name would have to either be the child of those who manage the plantation or the name of the owner of the plantation. So the record may not be clear on that because of what went down on the ground. You know what I'm saying? What went down on the ground was the Irish and the Scottish was on the ground. The Englishman, even though he owned the plantation, most of them was not on the ground.
They spun us a story, beloved. They spun us a story. And if we only begin to unpack it, you know, it is deep. It is really deep. And the records are there to show as well the names that many came with to the Caribbean. But that really is a history lesson in itself. And we are, you know, like 40 minutes away from the top of the hour, so we don't even have time to go into it. But I know that this is a story we're going to have to unpack. I know this is a story that I'm going to have to, you know, share on a level when I come with all of the information, because wow, it's a shocker. It really is a shocker. But, you know, you have shared a story with us, Brother Dulani, and what a journey, your own personal journey, your own personal experience. And it's so important that we document these stories and we capture these stories, because, you know, the Europeans can't tell our story for us. We're the ones who have to tell our stories for ourselves. We're the ones who are going to have to, you know, have that narrative that we share with our children. Like you said, our parents, a lot of them, to protect us, they hid the truth from us. They hid the stories from us. They didn't tell us the truth. Dr. Aboo was saying, if they were truthful about what life was really like in Britain when they came, it would have shattered the illusion that you spoke about, that you had of foreign, you were little growing up. And as Dr. Aboo said, probably no tourists could have walked in Jamaica if one didn't know the truth to how they was treating our people. And, you know, I'm on the continent of Africa, where, you know, Europeans are treated, they have the European privilege here and in other parts of Africa. Is that reciprocated back in Fidem Halls? Not at all, as Africans were treated like the scum of the earth. But most Africans don't know that. And so, you know, they give them the royal red carpet treatment, and we come and get better treatment than we, and better home as well. Wow. So time is pushing. Let me just quickly bring in one or two comments from the, I'll just quickly flick. We've got Global Green Book in the house, to rise up, rise up. Brother Cole Grant is in the house saying Hotep to the family. Let's quickly scroll down. Dee, what are you saying? I love my people and will never stay away from them. This is, you know, we've got to have the feelings towards each other. Ahi man in other house. Ahi man, where must I say? Ahi man say, the answer is, who owns the power that feeds their minds? Yes. Sheriff Hef is in the house, responding to Ace 99. You too English. No respect, but I know you have been mixed. You have to be mixed race, as you are too proud to be European rather than African, who navigated. First and foremost, we are indeed Africans, all of us family, you know, and it is an honor to be able to say that we are Africans as well. This last one, let me see. Anthony Lowe says, the Church of England will be debating this on Friday at 2 p.m. via Zoom. How much they should give us in reparations. I've sent the link to your Facebook. Thanks very much for that, Anthony. If anyone wants to find out more about that Church of England debate that they're going to be having about reparations and how much they should pay us, go to my Facebook page. Anthony's pasted the link there. You know what? As far as I'm concerned, money can't pay for where them do to we. Money can't pay. You know what they need to pay us with? Land. They need to give us back land, because with land is wealth. When you have land, you can build house on it, you can build factory on it, you can do your farming with it. We can come together as a collective, and not only can we benefit from that above the land, but we can benefit from that which is below the land, like we used to back in the days. Brother Dr. Aboo, let me give you 5 minutes of the 10 that we have got left. My, you buck up on Chief on the Big G Galaxy Afiwi, the only de-brainwashing station. And you get that link then. Oh no, 40 years later, we're still using it. share with us in 5 minutes a little bit of your journey with the Big G and Chief Umbrella, please.
Yeah, man. When I come to know the reason why these stations come about, you know, these are the things then where a lot of people do. The reason is not because people want to just go and do so, it's because their culture was deficient from those things. They couldn't hear the music, they couldn't hear the views and all of these things. That's why these stations come about. That's why it surprised me today that some of them forget what it was all about, you know? And so I see that many of the time the brother have to put in their pocket to even do certain things, you know? So that's a really and truly, and Galaxy never have nowhere to call a home. And, you know, so well, run it in as a blood. And I said, no, I said, run it in as a, because yes, we first church starting at the front room.
Yes.
We first school starting here. So this is what I'm saying. And that is what, because if we don't prepare to support, leave it alone. If we don't prepare to support, because I can't take nothing with me. My biggest dream is to build a monument on behalf of that generation. That is my dream. You understand? To say that they were here. If we don't do that, we fail. The reason why we are go through all what we are go through, because we are not building on that legacy. Here, some people come tell me about, you know, they are talking about Joshua can't jump the wall of Jericho. I don't know the fellow. I know Rassimian who liberates some book from the. We must come out of these little mental sickness. What I'm saying that when we give up our culture and history for scripture, we are in serious blows now, trouble blood. And that is what I find with many of us here today. That's what Galaxy Radio try to bring to our people, to take them out of that gravel pit that they're in. You understand? To make them know that there's other ways, my brethren. You know what? You know many fight I get, as I said. Job refuse and all of them things. I was one of the first one to have a video camera in the 80s and do all of these things. Right in a Peckham. We the Ragamuffin. I was the location manager on that. I was a director on the Grand Race Talent Show long before there's an X Factor. You understand? So you have to realize that there's things that we can definitely do if we come together. But what I'm saying that it's not all of us that look like us interested in us, blood. I truth me I tell you, yeah. Because some of them give up them purpose for a position. When a black man can left from here and go to Scotland, go build a dog home for him in-law, and him go on parents around the corner and go look for them, he deal with a blows not cross. And if we were together as African people, all them crofts that couldn't survive around us. A serious thing. But when we're not together, then take liberty. Simple as that. They are workless craft. You know,
true talk, Dr. Aboo. You know, a lot of our people give up their purpose. And, you know, that is a story in itself. If we go into the 1980s after the riots and all of the money that poured into the so-called inner city communities, all of the jobs that we created in the local councils and everywhere else that were up until then excluding, you know, Black people from employment. If we were to look at all of those positions and ask those people what they did for us.
After that uprising, you know, it's only two set of people benefit from the uprising. Black pastors and Black councillors. That's all benefit from it. We have to be honest, Aya.
It's true.
It makes sense to come here, Kasana, come pretend like we never get nothing from it. All we get out of it, if it's the young people, them are going to prison.
Yeah, true. That's when they really started criminalizing our young people in the 80s. A true talk, Dr. Aboo. Because of time, gotta have to leave it there. But my, if we ever start going into the racism side of things. But Brother Dulani, yes, you're linked to Galaxy. You talked about your reparations, your role on the reparations committee for over 10 years now. You know, been doing some phenomenal works there, phenomenal works. But, you know, some of us think that what they did to us, they can't even begin to put a price on it. What would you say to those people?
That is so true. Monetary compensation alone cannot be reparation. Reparation has to be repairing the damage, the overall, the psychological, the social, the cultural damage. And the bulk of the reparation work is going to be self-repair work. But we have to repair ourselves. We can only
Restoration.
demand resources to help to finance and resource the work that needs to be done. Because one of the reality of our history is that we have worked for over 200 to 300 years in an industrial system where 100% of the benefit of our work went to one group of people. And we cannot let them think that they can just take all of the wealth that was created in all those years and going to walk away with it, and we're going to say, let bygone be bygone. We can never allow that to happen. So that is one dimension of reparation, but also repairing who we are as a people, our character, our relationship with each other, how we think about each other, how we relate to one another, you know, who we are to each other. Those are some of the things that we have to do. And wherever we have control, and this is important, we need to use that control for the benefit of our people. For example, if you got control of the education system, particularly, and I'm very critical, and I will be saying more about this as I go on in my life, particularly Jamaica, we have no excuse. We are in control of the education system in Jamaica. We should not be enforcing a colonial school system on our children. We have to Africanization, Africanize our school system. It is our responsibility and duty. The same way that we can sit there and continue the colonial system, we can build our own system to Africanize our children. We don't need to use colonial uniform in our school. We need to have African uniform made by African tailors, inspired by our own African culture and history to put our children in. Our teachers should have uniform representing their culture, not the culture of alien people or foreign people, but to represent their own people. That's something that we can do. We don't have to ask for permission to do that. But because, like Carter G. Woodson say, when there's no back door, we go and create a back door. You know what I'm saying? That's when you got the mind trapped. When you got the mind in prison, you ain't got to put the shackles on the feet. We go find a shackle and put on for the master. And that's how they have us. That's how the colonial system work. And we got to get rid of that. And that is, for me, that's one of the greatest repairing that could be done, is to repair the mind of our people. Now, don't get me wrong, financial compensation is vital. You know what I'm saying? We're not going to shy away from that argument. Economic repair, the rehabilitation, the restitution, you know what I mean? Guarantee that this would never happen again. You know, a lot of these stuff have to be enshrined. That's on the only way we're going to get a sense of satisfaction. When we know for sure that our people would never be visited with this sort of atrocity can never happen again on this planet.
Never.
You know what I'm saying? So that is, for me, what reparation is. And it has been an honor to have served in the reparation movement so far. And I look forward to continue to serve in the reparation movement and give my energy, give my life to the struggle, because I know it's the right thing to do. It's not the most expedient, it's not the most profitable, because most likely none of us would benefit from the reparation struggle that we engage in today. But it is the right struggle if we are about justice. If we are about healing our people, we got to demand justice, economic justice, land justice. That's another issue, Sister Denise, and I hope I'm not going over time. Is that
we are at the top of the hour now. We're going to have to do a part two on reparation.
Yes, just to land on that issue of land. For instance, the Jamaican government having Jamaica what we call crown land. The current land in Jamaica needs to be confiscated and redistributed to the Jamaican people, starting with those who was left out. Because there's a lot of Jamaican people, African in Jamaica, who were left out of land distribution. If you already got land, you get to the back of the line. Those who never got any land should be at the front of the line. And we start to enforce our own reparation on the island.
Yeah,
Thank you,
well, I like that one there, Brother Dulani. Thank you so much for the works that you've been doing on reparations. Long may you continue to do the works as well. Thank you for being on this platform, Dr. Aboo. Thank you so much for being on this platform to share your journey as well. You know, the Banya, Senfa, and Sembakia, Sembaka and Senfa. Rise up. To everybody in the chat, thank you so much for your messages as well. Norman's reminded, he said, like mosquito 1, mosquito 2, mosquito jump on a hot callaloo. What are you lot talking about in the chat? I think they're remembering nursery rhymes, etc. and times in Jamaica. And said, Kwame Oboje, Jamaicans do know of that dish, but that was not a main dish, just something we put together quick and lazy to quick. What dish was that, I wonder? You said we use be responsible and independent. Come on now. Okay, so lots of conversations going on in the chat. Thank you so much for that. Please do remember to hit the like button as well. Thank you, Carol, for asking everyone to remember to do that, to hit the like button before you leave. Also, please do comment in the chat. And, you know, just highlight something that was said that you feel, you know, you want to draw to the attention of those who are visiting the site. And Ace is going out on the shelf saying, Shanice, I will present on anything concerning the UK. Okay, rise up. And Kwame Oboje, I did not say it there. Anyway, lots of conversations going on there. Thank you so much. Please do give us a like. Please do subscribe. One more time, big it up for Dr. Aboo and Brother Dulani. Thank you so much. And all being well, next strong, we are going to have a couple more guests who are going to be sharing their story of their journey growing up African / Black in Britain or the UK. Thank you, family.
Thank you, Sister Shanice.
Thank you.
Okay, Mahat.
Voodoo power.
All the time.
Yes.
Bye for now.
In continuous service.